there's really 4 bottlenecks that most allied health founders are going to find when launching their business. Okay. The first one is unclear direction. They don't know where they're going, where they want to, what direction they're going, what's the end point, what's the end goal here, how do we celebrate a win, how are we going to run our business in terms of the values that allow us to make decisions, and what is the clear economic objectives that define the mission of what we're trying to achieve this year, this month, this quarter, and so making sure that we have what I like to call a vision compass is something every founder is going to need, where you are able to look if you're heading in the right direction, but also you give yourself permission to set the direction. Like, where are we going? Are we going to the mountaintop? Are we going to the sea level? Are we going to the beach? Whatever. I think that's really important. And then I think the second thing is you also need a bit of a GPS system to see where you are on a map. Because there's no point having a compass and no points or milestones to hit or checkpoints to know that you're heading in the right direction. So I think for sustainable growth, how will you know that you're growing towards something if, one, you haven't defined the endpoint, but also you haven't established clear, measurable milestones to hit along the way? And so you're going to need something like a dashboard to measure what matters in your business to move you forward to your goal. So that's like the first thing. And part of that is also, what problem are you solving? Who do you help and what problem are you solving? So understanding your dream patient persona like the back of your hand, okay? Because if you have the vision of where you're going, but you don't know who you're serving, then you're in it for the money, right? We got to be in it to make an impact. These are the businesses that last because they're not focused on short-term revenue metrics and goals, but like long transformational visions that impact the world. So who do we help and what problem are we solving? And the only way to really, really understand your dream patient is figuring out, who do I love working with? Because if you love working with them, you're going to do it for a long time.
Yep.
Who has the cash to pay me? Because if they don't, if I don't have cash flow, I can't continue to run the business, right?
Yep.
Which is the thing. It's the truth. If you're going to run a business, this isn't a charity. You're going to need to make money. And it's not for your own personal gain, but to do stuff with the business, right? And am I good at helping these people? Do I have social proof or reps that I'm actually good at what I do? And finally, is there a massive need or gap in the market? What is the separator that makes me better or different and useful than the other physio down the road? You really got to understand those points. And when I say understand the dream patient persona that you want to work with, what I'm really trying to understand, or like you to do, is articulate their problems better than they can. So understand what are their core problems that keep them up at night. What do they want, right? Because if I understand those, I know exactly how to communicate to them. I know what hot buttons they have, and I know what problems that they have that I know I can solve, and I speak to that. Okay, so I'm not selling massage, dry needling, and all that. What I am selling is pain relief, the ability to do what you love, less stress, how to make more money, more success in your business. This is the stuff, depending on the DPP, the dream patient persona. That's the first bottleneck for a sustainable business, right?
Yeah.
The second one would be inconsistent leads. They don't know where they're coming from. They're sitting there waiting patiently for them to come through. And no one's coming, right? This is a big fear for a lot of founders. And so if you want to run a sustainable business, you got to have a system to predict how many people are coming through the door every single week or month based on like a clear system that you implement. So I think for founders, what they really underestimate, and this is how I built my business, our clinic to $1 million for our first one, was just warm outreach. Speak to the people that already trust you, love what you do, and like you, and ask them if they know people that would want to see you, because they're going to be your biggest advocates, right? Easiest way to hack the funnel is like skip the whole awareness and top of funnel stuff. Go straight to I like you and I want to buy from you because someone else is looking for you. And then figuring out then on top of that, how do you build a personal brand? Now, you and I have been part of a course to do that. And, it's probably one of the most important things moving into businesses of the future is like investing in the biggest asset that you've got, which is yourself. How do you build a personal brand that, attracts people, repels others? And it's a long-term game, personal branding. Like, we've been doing it for 2-3 years now. And it's only now that we're able to really utilize that and leverage off it. So that's the second thing, is like instant leads. And the third thing to build a sustainable business, I believe, is like, the big problem, the bottleneck, is we're so awkward with sales. Uni teaches you how to treat, they don't teach you how to run a business. And so the moment you ask for money, you get weird about it. And I see it all the time. A lot of business owners, they're so scared to charge premium prices because they feel like they're ripping people off. But the thing is, if you're going to charge a premium, just make sure you deliver on the service. That makes complete sense to me. If you charge a premium and you don't deliver on your service, you don't offer value, now you're a sneaky sales or oil salesman, right? You're not a good guy. And I also don't think you need to give lots of value and not charge for it, which is where a lot of people do this. Because what's the risk? You burn out. You run out of steam. There's no more cash or fuel to run this plane. And so who suffers? You suffer, your business suffers, your family suffer. Who wins? Your patient, for a little bit, until your business goes broke. I think that's one of the things is sales. And it really comes down to two things. One, having a flagship offer that you're known for is like the reason why people come to you. What does that look like? And how do you package it in a way that's a no-brainer for people, but it offers maximum value, but also huge amounts of cash flow? And then the second thing is just making sure you run the greatest consultation of all time. When someone comes through your door, if you have such a great initial consultation that blows them away, not so much because you can flex your clinical muscles and what you know, but more so because you're able to show them what the problem is, how big it is, where the gap is, and if you don't do something about it, what's the risk? If you can show that story using a framework that like allows you to take them on that journey, then that, I believe, is what's going to get you across the awkward sales bit, because you're just guiding. You're being a guide, not the hero. And I think the final bottleneck, which is what we talked about, is just getting into the technician trap of doing all the work and not being able to work on the business, because you're wearing all the hats. You don't realize that you need to hire the right people. And so I've made some poor hires in the past, but that bottleneck of when do I hire someone? How do I hire them? Like, who do I look for? I think it's the first one. But so hiring all-star people that are going to progress your business forward. I mean, why do you hire people, right? It's for them to do a job better than you can do it. Not so that you do their job for them, but they can do it by themselves. So you got to have all-star hires. And the second thing is just yourself. Because here's the thing, you can't lead people unless you know how to lead yourself first. And being able to just shift your mindset to more of a CEO mindset versus a technician is a challenge in itself. So if you want a sustainable business, you've got to get out of the here's what I know about treating and into here's how I can help my team make more impact, and learning to delegate, replace, eliminate, automate, all that sort of stuff. I think so important. So those are my 4 things, I reckon, to build a sustainable, profitable business.
Yeah. Okay. Before we close, what 2 or 3 lessons have you learned in conceptualizing and launching your business that you think would be helpful to somebody who's a few steps behind you?
So 3 lessons that I've learned. Okay. I have learned that it's important to survey my audience to see what they actually want.
Yeah.
I have learned, you don't want to create something that no one's going to buy. So that says make sure you have an audience and that you're creating something that people want. That's also like within your expertise, obviously.
Right.
I would also say that I've learned that language matters when it comes to marketing. when it comes to, in my case, I've been working on having a less clinical language to a more conversational language, so that we can really help our audience when they're reading our things to know, like, it's not just about this is what's included, but like, what are they getting out of these programs?
Yep.
And then shifting that language to identify what might be some of the benefits for them, as opposed to this is what the program includes.
Yep.
And third, you can only control what you can control. So I can control the consistency with how often I post. I can control many different things, like what I can do, but I cannot control the outcome. So I need to become detached from the outcome. For example, if I have a launch coming up and not many people have joined, it can be very easy and very human of me to become sad because not people aren't joining. However, I cannot control how many people join. What I can control is how I market it, how often I talk about it, how I talk about it, and basically focus on these things.